Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how we can use custom fonts into our Android applications. Our custom fonts, these are fonts that we can get from external sources or the ones that we don't have in Android applications. So we're going to learn how we can implement such a fonts in our apps. So without wasting much time, let's get started. At first, I've created a simple application which is having 3 lines of text. As you can see here, we're having just text hello world 1, 2, and 3. So we are going to see how we can get a font or external font and include into our project. First of all, we have different sources of fonts. The first source that is authentic, we have Google Fonts. Google Fonts is a platform that provides different kinds of fonts. You can even get it on web. Just simply come and search Google Fonts. So in Google Fonts, you'll find different kind of fonts that you can use for web and for Android. For anything that you want, you can just download these fonts and implement them in your project. And another source, you can get as well fonts from other sources. For example, download fonts. So if you search download fonts, you will see other sources that provide fonts, but the most popular one is Google Fonts. You can find all kinds of fonts here. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can implement such a kind of fonts into applications of Android. So you can either manually download it from here, that I'll show you in the second part, but for now I'm going to show how you can use Google itself, Android Studio itself, how to implement these fonts. So to do that, you come here. This is application. So you switch to the design mode by simply clicking here on design, and then you'll see our application in design mode. So after clicking on design mode, you click on a text box, a text view. For example, you can see as a text view. Then when you click on it, for example, I want to change the font in the font style in this middle one, and then you come here on the attributes. In the attributes, you see a section of font family. Font family is here. So if you click here, they'll show you the font families that are already installed in our app. But for me, I need one from Google Fonts or from external. So first of all, I should be connected to internet, and then I scroll down until I see the word more fonts. So when you click on more fonts, Google will load for you a list of Google Fonts here. So if you know a specific font that you want, you can search it here, or you can browse through along and find out the font that you may want. So I'm going to pick here just a random font that is looking a little bit different from other normal fonts that you always use in our applications. Let me say this one, okay? So when I click on that font will have a name here, and then they'll ask us one of the two questions here. They say that whether I want to create downloadable font. So if I create downloadable font, this font will not be installed in our application, but when the user will install our app, this font will be downloaded if that user will be online, or will be having access to internet. So the application will first compile. If that font is in the user's phone, it will be displayed. If it's not in the user's phone and he's connected to internet, it will download that font from internet. That's the first option. But if you want this option to be compiled within application and be put into application, we select this second option, add font to the project. It means that this font is going to be added to the project. So this font has only one variation. It does not have italics, it does not have bold. By default, it is having only a single variation. So it is not a rich font. We have other fonts which are rich. They're having italics version, bold version, and other versions. I will show them to you, one of them. But for now, let's go with this one. Okay, it's called Henny Penny. So I'll select Henny Penny, and then I say OK. Then, as you can see here, there's something that has changed in our folder. We have been there in the folder of resources. There's another folder that has been created, which is the folder of fonts, and if you click there, you see Henny Penny. font has been added with an extension of .ttf. As you can see here also, our font of this second, it has been also created. I mean, our word here, it has changed. And if you go to the source code, you see that just there's one line that has been added here, which is font family. Font family is at font, meaning that we are referencing the font, and then you put the font name, which is Henny Penny. As you can see, it has changed. Let me change the color, text color, and make it black to make it visible to you. So you can see this font is not like a usual font that we always have. So let me run the application, and you're going to see how it's going to change in our application. So there, the application is compiling and it is running. Then you can see our application has finished compiling, and you can see this Henny Penny font is different from other normal fonts that we're having. So that's how we change font how we use custom fonts in our Android applications. So I see that there are some other fonts which are very rich. They come with their own variations. Let me show you some of them to you. So you come on design, and then you come here to font families. Click on more. I will have fonts such as Roboto, very popular fonts. So when you click on Roboto, you'll see it will show you other options. You see, it is coming with other options. So you can decide that in your headings you'll use Roboto bold, and then maybe subheadings you'll be using Roboto medium, and then in the normal text you use Roboto regular. So that font itself, only the font itself, it will be maintained to create the related text in your application, just while you're varying these variations. So for example, you can see you have Roboto italics, so you can choose the one that you want. Roboto italics, Roboto light, Roboto thin, all of them, they're just options of Roboto. So that font is a bit richer compared to the one that we used before. So you can implement anyone that you want. This is Roboto mono, but it's also having it is having also its variations. And this is a Roboto slab, and it is having also its variation. You have a very thin one, a light, and regular. So you can choose the ones that you want to install in your application. You add them there, and then you start implementing them in your application by varying these variations, as you can see. So for now, I'll not do that, but that's how you can use fonts which are rich, like Arial, like sans serif. You see, sans serif, it is having its bold version and italic version, but not all fonts they have these variations. Some they are not having, they just only have a single variation. So if you want to vary them, you can just manually do it by yourself. So that's how we implement different kinds of fonts or external fonts into our Android application. So I hope you've got that. So that was the first thing. So the second thing is, what if you want to use the font that you want is not on the source that we're using, which is Google Fonts. You can as well download this font from other parts. For example, let me come on internet. You can either download it manually here from Google Fonts, but for me, I'm going to search another font. For example, there is a font of Ubuntu, Ubuntu font. There's a font of Mac. So I'm going to select this one, Ubuntu font. You can see I can download it from here. Again, on Google, I wanted something external that is not from Google Fonts, so that you should be able to see how you can import font from other parts. So accept all, I don't know. Okay, let me select, for example, here one of the Ubuntu, and then what is the download button? I think download here is here, so I select download. So this Ubuntu font will be downloaded to my computer, and I'm going to extract it and then import it into my application. So I'll extract the font, and there it is. So when it will be extracted, it will give us all the variations of Ubuntu fonts. So you can either import all of them and start using them, or you can import those that you want, and then you start using the one that you want. So for example, I'm going to import only the Ubuntu mono, for example. Okay, and then I'll come then to my application, and then I will I'll come to my application, and then you see these are the .ttf files. I will drag and drop them here in the font, and then a font, I mean a text, you know, a layout in a Android resource or drawable folder. It cannot have, I mean Android resource folders, it cannot have a capital letter. So I'll keep this one a small letter, and while there's a capital letter, I'll just put underscore small letter, and then this one also change to underscore, and then I can change this one to to be, so that they should be uniform, and then the extension will remain .ttf, and then I say refactor, and then you see that our font has been imported. I see it is complaining. I don't know why. Let me come here on rename. Maybe the renaming is a problem. Is it having any problem? I don't see. Okay, so after doing that, I can implement it into our project. I don't know why it is complaining. So I'll come here and put Ubuntu BL. So you see, Ubuntu BL, it has been implemented in our project. So that's how we import an external font. You just simply download it and then drag and drop it into your font folder, and then you make sure that the renaming is in small letters and it does not have space, and it is having it does not have the dashes, so that it should be able to suit in the resource folder. So once you do that, then you'll be able to to implement that font into your project. As you can see, I manually downloaded this Ubuntu BL. Oh, this L I think is the problem. No, here. Let's rename it and double click on it. Let me rename it again. You know, if the name is not okay, then it will have to complain. So I simply come here on refactor. What is refactor and rename. I think there's something that is still capital there. Let me remove this and keep it B. Yeah, you see, as long as something is capital, then it will do what? It will not compile it. There was a capital I, that's why it was warning there. So that's how we import also external font from other sources. So lastly, I'm going to show you, that was the third point. Then lastly, I'm going to show you how you can dynamically set the external font to affect a certain font. So to do that, I'm going to simply get here I'm going to get here this font. I'm going to give it this text an ID, and maybe I can say target text, and then I'll come here to my main activity and create a text view, and then after I will compile it, find view by ID r.id.target text, and then after I will come and create maybe here a button that we should see how we are acting on it. So let me create here a button, and then button, I'll call it wrap text, and then wrap text, and then I'll give this text, and then maybe I say apply, and then I'll close the button. I'll give this one an ID, and I'll call it apply, btn apply, and then I'll come and create this button here, say button apply, and then I'll find it, find this apply, and then I'll set the click listener dot set on click listener, new on click listener, and then these things are disturbing, new on click listener, and then when someone to click here, you should send the font. So if you want to send the font, first of all you have to create what you call font so to change font, dynamically you have to create what you call typeface, typeface like this. So I'm going to create this variable typeface, and then it says go to new. So this typeface, it takes it takes a resource compat resource compat dot get font. So this resource compat, it will help us to get the resources in our heart into our application. So this resource compat takes two things. It takes the context, which is this, and then the second thing that it takes to is the font itself. So it will be r dot what dot font, r dot font dot, then you specify the font that you want to get. So let me get the Henny Penny one, and then put a what, semicolon. So this has to be main activity dot this, because here it is within the what, the click listener. So after doing that, now what else? I want to change the font. So to change the font, remember I want to change the font of this target text. So I simply say target text dot set typeface, and then I'll pass this typeface. So by doing that, we'll have changed the font dynamically. So let us run the application and we see how it's going to change. So the application has compiled. Now if I click on here apply, it should change the font. So I click apply, and you see it changes to Henny Penny. So that's how we change the fonts programmatically or dynamically. So the last thing that I'm going to show you is how to implement the font into the entire application. What if you want to implement your font into the entire application? So you simply do that by coming to your values, then you come to themes, and we have here the themes.xml. So here add one more extra item, which is item, and then you put font family, and then you close and open and say at font, and then you put Henny Penny, for example, is what you want. So if I say Henny Penny, then it means that every text in our application, if you don't specify the font style, it is going to be the Henny Penny font. So as it is compiling, boom, so you can see everything has been changed to Henny Penny font. As you can see here in the navigation bar, it is Henny Penny font. Even the words, even those are in the button is a Henny Penny font. Even if I click, you cannot see any change because the font is already the Henny Penny one. So that's how we create, that's how we implement external fonts. That's how we import fonts from Google. We've learned how to get a font from an external source and import it into our project. We've learned how to put font dynamically and how to implement the font into the entire application. Thank you for watching. I hope you won't miss in the next video.